The grand hall of the Galactic Council buzzed with whispers and barely contained laughter. Hundreds of alien representatives from across the galaxy sat in their floating pods, looking down at the small human delegation on the central platform. The massive crystal dome above showed the swirling colors of deep space, making the scene even more intimidating. Dr. James Miller stood straight, trying to hide his nervousness. Next to him, Ambassador Tom White adjusted his tie for the 10th time. They were here to present Earth's application for joining the Galactic Council, but the constant murmuring was making it difficult to concentrate. "You may begin your presentation," announced the head counselor, a tall being with silvery skin who sat on the highest platform. His voice carried a hint of amusement, as if he was about to watch a comedy show rather than an important diplomatic meeting. Dr. Miller stepped forward and cleared his throat. "Honorable Council, we come before you today to present Earth's achievements in space travel and—" "Excuse me," interrupted a blob-like creature from one of the pods, "but are you still using rocket propulsion to reach space?" Its translucent body rippled with what looked like laughter. "Well, yes, but we've made significant improvements too." Another burst of laughter echoed through the chamber. A tall, insect-like being clicked its mandibles. "They haven't even mastered basic gravity manipulation. How adorable." Ambassador White's face turned red, but he maintained his diplomatic composure. Dr. Miller continued, knowing that what they were hiding would soon change everything. "While we still use conventional propulsion for most space travel, we have made breakthrough discoveries in other areas." "Oh, do tell us about these breakthroughs," said a counselor with glowing eyes, causing more ripples of laughter across the chamber. Dr. Miller activated his holographic display, showing various scientific achievements from Earth. He carefully avoided mentioning Project Hypercube, their ace in the hole, the secret research that would make all these laughing aliens eat their words. "As you can see, we've developed efficient solar power collection, advanced medical technologies, and are making progress in quantum computing," he explained. The head counselor raised his hand, silencing the chamber. "Dr. Miller, while these achievements are impressive for a young species, they are merely basic technologies by our standards. The smallest child in our societies understands quantum mechanics. You're showing us finger paintings and expecting to be admitted to a gallery of master artists." More laughter filled the chamber. Dr. Miller felt his hands shake slightly, but he remembered the images he'd seen just last week, the successful test of the dimensional drive, hidden deep beneath the Antarctic ice. If they only knew. "We understand we have much to learn." Ambassador White stepped in. "But Earth brings unique perspectives and innovations." "Perspectives," interrupted another counselor. "Your species still fights among itself over primitive resources. You barely understand three-dimensional space travel, while we navigate the fifth dimension for morning commutes." The chamber erupted in thunderous laughter. Some representatives were literally rolling in their paws with amusement. Dr. Miller noticed one quiet figure in a dark pod, watching intently without joining the mockery. At least someone was taking them seriously. "Thank you for your time," Dr. Miller said firmly, gathering his dignity. "We will return when we have more to show." As they turned to leave, the head counselor's voice rang out. "Come back in a few hundred years, humans. Perhaps by then you'll have figured out how to travel without burning chemicals." The laughter followed them all the way to their ship. Once inside, Ambassador White loosened his tie and slumped in his chair. "Well, that was humiliating." Dr. Miller smiled slightly, pulling out his secure communicator. "Actually, it was perfect. They're completely unaware." He typed a quick message. "Proceed with Phase 2. Back on Earth, deep beneath the Antarctic ice, a massive facility hummed with power. In its center, a ship unlike any ever built by human hands sat in a cradle of exotic materials. Its surface seemed to shift and move, as if it existed in multiple places at once. And in a small control room, Captain Lisa Walker watched her console light up with the incoming message. She grinned, cracking her knuckles as she prepared for another test flight into dimensions that their laughing audience couldn't even comprehend. Let them laugh. They wouldn't be laughing much longer. 3 kilometers beneath the Antarctic ice, Captain Lisa Walker walked through gleaming metal corridors that hummed with power. Her footsteps echoed as she made her way to the main testing chamber of Project Hypercube. The facility was a marvel of engineering, hidden from the world's eyes and from the mocking aliens above. The massive doors slid open with a soft hiss, revealing the heart of humanity's secret weapon. The HFY Infinity floated in its cradle, its hull shifting like liquid metal. Sometimes it seemed to be in multiple places at once, an effect that still made the maintenance crews dizzy. "Ready for another run, Captain." Dr. Miller stood at the control station, his silver hair reflecting the blue light from dozens of monitors. Dark circles under his eyes showed how little he'd slept since returning from the Galactic Council meeting. "Born ready," Lisa replied, running her hand along the ship's surface. The metal felt warm, almost alive. "How far are we pushing it today?" Dr. Miller's eyes sparkled with excitement. "We're going to attempt 6th-dimensional space. The calculations look promising." 2 technicians helped Lisa into her pilot suit. It wasn't an ordinary spacesuit, but a complex web of quantum sensors and neural links. The material adapted to her body, becoming like a second skin. She had worn it so many times now, it felt more natural than her regular clothes. "Remember," Dr. Miller said as he checked the suit's connections, 5th dimension was like seeing every possible version of our universe at once. 6th dimension will be different. You'll see the rules that shape reality themselves." Lisa nodded. She remembered her first flight into the 4th dimension, how strange it had been to see time as a physical direction she could move through. 5th dimension had nearly broken her mind until she learned to process the infinite possibilities through the ship's filters. She climbed into the cockpit, settling into the neural interface chair. Countless wires and tubes connected to her suit, linking her consciousness directly to the ship's systems. The cabin sealed with a soft click. "Beginning dimensional drive warm-up sequence," announced the facility's eye. Massive rings around the ship began to spin, creating fields that bent the very fabric of reality. Dr. Miller's voice came through her calm. "All systems are green. Remember, if anything feels wrong, we pull you back immediately." "Copy that," Lisa replied, feeling the familiar tingle as her mind merged with the ship's consciousness. The HUD lit up with information from dimensions humans weren't meant to see. The countdown began. Dimensional shift in 10, 9, 8. Lisa closed her eyes, preparing herself. 7, 6, 5. The hull began to vibrate. 4, 3, 2. Reality started to bend. 1. Initiate. The world exploded into impossible colors. Lisa felt her consciousness expand as the ship pushed through the boundaries of normal space. They passed through the 4th dimension easily now, time becoming a visible landscape. The 5th dimension opened up, showing infinite parallel universes like pages in a cosmic book. Then they pushed further. Lisa gasped as new understanding flooded her mind. In the 6th dimension, she could see the mathematical constants that held reality together. Gravity, electromagnetic force, the strong and weak nuclear forces, all became visible as streams of pure information she could almost touch. "This is incredible," she whispered. "I can see everything." Suddenly, alarms blared. Red lights flashed across the control room. "Power spike," someone shouted. "The dimensional field is destabilizing." "Pull her back," Dr. Miller ordered. "Emergency protocols. Now." But Lisa had already taken control. Using her neural link, she adjusted the ship's position in 6th-dimensional space, compensating for the power surge. The alarms fell silent. "Situation stabilized," she reported calmly. "But you might want to see this." Through the ship's sensors, she had detected something impossible, a faint signal coming from the 7th dimension. A dimension that, according to their calculations, they shouldn't be able to even detect yet. Dr. Miller stared at the readings in disbelief. "This changes everything," he muttered. "If we can reach the seventh dimension, we could do more than just reach it," Lisa said, carefully navigating back through the dimensions toward normal space. "We could master it." As the ship settled back in its cradle, technicians rushed to collect data. But Lisa sat quietly in her cockpit, still processing what she'd seen. The aliens thought humans were primitive, stuck in three-dimensional thinking. They had no idea what was coming. In his office later that night, Dr. Miller sent a heavily encrypted message to Earth's Defense Council. Project milestone achieved. Proceeding to final phase. The galaxy won't be laughing much longer. The emergency meeting of the Galactic Council was nothing like the laughing session from 2 months ago. Fear filled the Grand Chamber as holographic displays showed another solar system falling to the Collective's invasion fleet. "The Beta Centauri defense line has fallen," announced a gray-skinned counselor, his voice trembling. 3 billion lives, lost in hours. The head counselor, no longer wearing his smug expression, gripped his podium tightly. "How many ships?" he asked. 10,000 in the main fleet. Their technology, it's like nothing we've seen. Our best weapons barely scratched their shields. Dr. Miller watched the proceedings from Earth's observation feed, taking notes. While Earth wasn't part of the council, they still received emergency broadcasts. Next to him, General Robert Stone of Earth's Defense Force studied the Collective's attack patterns. "They're moving methodically," the general noted. "System by system, planet by planet. And getting closer to Earth," Dr. Miller added, though he didn't sound as worried as he should have been. The council chamber erupted in panic as new information arrived. The Collective had just destroyed another civilization's homeworld, one that had stood for 50,000 years. "They're not just killing people," reported a survivor, his hologram flickering. "They're erasing entire histories, libraries, monuments, everything that makes a civilization what it is." Back in the Antarctic facility, Captain Lisa Walker was preparing for another test flight. The HSS Infinity had been upgraded based on their discoveries in the sixth dimension. Now they were ready for something bigger. "All systems check complete," announced a technician. "Dimensional drive at full power." Lisa settled into her neural interface chair, feeling the familiar connection with the ship. But today was different. Today they would attempt to breach the seventh dimension. Dr. Miller's voice came through her comm. "Council meeting just ended. The Collective destroyed 3 more systems while they were still arguing about what to do." "How long until they reach us?" Lisa asked, running pre-flight checks. "At their current speed, 2 months, maybe less." Lisa smiled grimly. "They'll find more than they bargained for." The test began. The dimensional drive hummed to life, pushing beyond normal space. 4th dimension, 5th, 6th, they passed through them all smoothly now. Then came the push into unknown territory. Lisa felt her mind expand in ways she couldn't have imagined. The 7th dimension wasn't just about space, time, or possibility. It was about the fundamental rules of existence itself. I can't even. She struggled to find words. "It's like I can see the source code of the universe." In the 7th dimension, she could perceive reality as a set of changeable rules rather than fixed laws. Gravity, energy, matter, all of them became variables she could potentially alter. The ship's sensors recorded everything, feeding data back to the eager scientists. But something else caught Lisa's attention, a massive disturbance in the dimensional fabric, far away but getting closer. "Dr. Miller," she called out, "I think I know how the Collective is so powerful. They're using crude 6th-dimensional technology. That's why normal weapons can't hurt them. Can you get more details?" "Better." Lisa pushed the ship's sensors to their limit. "I can see their fleet, all of it. From here, their 6th-dimensional shields might as well be paper." The test continued for another hour, gathering crucial data. When Lisa finally landed, her hands were shaking from the mental strain, but her eyes shone with excitement. In the briefing room later, Earth's military leaders reviewed the findings. The collective had seemed unstoppable because they operated partially in higher dimensions, but only at a basic level. It was like they had discovered gunpowder, while Earth had secretly developed nuclear fusion. "When will the ship be ready for combat?" General Stone asked. Dr. Miller looked at his tablet. 2 weeks to integrate the new data and upgrade the weapon systems. The real question is, do we reveal ourselves now or wait until they reach Earth? "Let them come," Lisa said, still seeing echoes of seventh-dimensional space behind her eyes. "Let them think we're helpless. Let the Council keep laughing at the primitive humans." General Stone nodded grimly. "Agreed. When the collective arrives, they'll learn what humanity can really do. And the galaxy will never underestimate us again." As if to punctuate her words, a new emergency broadcast arrived. Another system had fallen to the collective. The countdown to Earth's revelation had begun. The observation deck of the Antarctic facility buzzed with nervous energy. Military leaders, scientists, and government officials stood behind thick glass windows, watching the HFY Infinity in its final testing phase. The ship looked different now. Its hull rippled with patterns that hurt the eyes if you looked too long, like a moving optical illusion. "Ladies and gentlemen," Dr. Miller addressed the crowd, "what you're about to witness is the first full-power demonstration of humanity's greatest achievement." Inside the ship's cockpit, Captain Lisa Walker completed her pre-flight checklist. The neural interface suit had also been upgraded, covered in symbols that glowed with strange light. As she connected to the ship's systems, she felt something new, a deeper bond, as if the ship had become an extension of her own body. "Neural link at 100%, she reported. "All systems ready." "Remember," Dr. Miller's voice came through her comm, "today we're showing everything. Full seventh-dimensional capabilities." Lisa smiled. Time to put on a show. The dimensional drive activated, but this time it was different. Instead of pushing through dimensions one by one, the ship existed in all of them simultaneously. Lisa felt her consciousness expand exponentially, seeing reality from impossible angles. "Beginning demonstration," she announced. The ship flickered and vanished. The observers gasped. Then it appeared at the other end of the massive chamber, then in the middle, then in 5 places at once. "What you're seeing," Dr. Miller explained to the stunned audience, "is seventh-dimensional manipulation. Captain Walker isn't just moving the ship through space. She's rewriting the rules of where and when it exists." Lisa pushed further. The ship split into 12 perfect copies, each one as real as the original. Then they merged back into one. She made it phase through solid matter, travel backwards in time for a few seconds, and even briefly exist in parallel universes. "Impossible," whispered an admiral. "The power requirements alone should be." "In the 7th dimension," Dr. Miller interrupted, "energy itself is negotiable. Captain Walker isn't using power to move the ship. She's temporarily changing the laws of physics in localized areas." To demonstrate this, Lisa created a bubble where gravity reversed, then another where time ran sideways. The observers watched in awe as she juggled laws of nature like a street performer juggling balls. "And now," she said, "the weapons test." A series of holographic targets appeared in the chamber, designed to simulate the collective's 6th-dimensional shields. The ship's new weapons activated. Beams of light that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously struck the targets. They didn't just destroy the shields, they erased the very possibility of the shields existing. "Good Lord," General Stone muttered. "One ship could take on their entire fleet." "Not just one ship," Dr. Miller corrected. "One ship in potentially unlimited quantum states, each capable of existing across 7 dimensions. The mathematics suggest Captain Walker could theoretically engage every ship in their fleet simultaneously." Lisa demonstrated this by creating 100 perfect copies of the Infinity, each one under her complete control. The neural interface translated impossible 7th-dimensional concepts into commands she could understand and execute. "How does she process all this information?" Someone asked. The human brain shouldn't be capable. The seventh dimension allows for expanded consciousness, Dr. Miller explained. Captain Walker isn't just seeing more. She's thinking in ways that would be impossible in normal space. The demonstration continued for another hour. When Lisa finally landed, the observers broke into applause. As she climbed out of the cockpit, she caught fragments of excited conversations. The collective won't know what hit them. We could become the dominant force in the galaxy. No one will laugh at Earth again. General Stone approached her. Outstanding work, Captain. Are you ready for the real thing? Lisa nodded, still feeling echoes of seventh dimensional awareness. The ship is ready. The crew is ready. She looked at the Infinity, its hull still shifting with impossible patterns. Let them come. Later, in his office, Dr. Miller sent the final report to Earth's Defense Council. Project Hypercube is combat ready. When the collective arrives, humanity will reveal its true power. The galaxy wants to treat us like children. Fine. Time to show them how much we've grown up. The HSS Infinity waited in its berth, humming with power that could reshape reality itself. Humanity's secret weapon was ready. And somewhere out there, the collective's fleet approached, completely unaware that they were heading toward their own extinction. Red lights flashed across every screen in Earth's defense centers. The long-range sensors had detected it. The collective's massive fleet had entered the solar system. Like a swarm of metal locusts, their ships darkened the space around Pluto's orbit. In the Galactic Council chamber, the mood was grim. The head counselor's hologram appeared in Earth's command center, his silver face showing what might have been pity. We felt obligated to warn you, he said. The collective has entered your system. Their fleet is larger than any we've seen before, 20,000 ships at least. General Stone stood with his hands clasped behind his back, watching the tactical display. And what help can we expect from the council? The head counselor shifted uncomfortably. I regret to inform you that the council has voted. Given Earth's limited technological capabilities, committing resources to your defense would be wasteful. Dr. Miller stepped forward. So you're abandoning us, after everything the collective has done. You must understand, the head counselor said, his voice dripping with fake sympathy. Your species still uses chemical rockets. The collective has sixth-dimensional technology. The gap is too great. The kindest thing we can do is advise you to evacuate your leadership. We could accept a small number of refugees. The meeting was interrupted by a junior officer rushing in. Sir, the collective fleet has accelerated. They'll reach Mars orbit in 6 hours. The head counselor's hologram flickered. So little time. I'm sorry, but you must see this as hopeless. Your entire planetary defense fleet consists of what? A few dozen primitive orbital platforms. General Stone smiled for the first time. Actually, we'd like to show you something. He nodded to Dr. Miller. Doctor, I believe it's time. Dr. Miller pressed a button on his tablet. Deep beneath the Antarctic ice, klaxons sounded. Captain Lisa Walker, already in her neural interface suit, ran final checks on the HS Infinity. You may want to watch this, General Stone told the head counselor. Consider it an educational opportunity. The council chamber's sensors detected a massive energy spike from Earth's surface. The head counselor's eyes widened as his instruments tried to make sense of what they were seeing. Impossible, he whispered. These readings, they suggest. The HSS Infinity rose from its underground berth, its hull shifting through multiple dimensions. Lisa felt the familiar expansion of her consciousness as the seventh-dimensional drive engaged. Through the ship's sensors, she could see the collective fleet. And more importantly, she could see the crude sixth-dimensional technology they relied on. This is Captain Walker of the HFY Infinity to all Earth forces, she announced. Beginning Operation Dimensional Storm. The ship accelerated, but not in any normal way. It moved through dimensions themselves, appearing near Mars in an instant. The collective fleet, still hours away at their fastest speed, detected the dimensional disturbance. Back in the command center, the head counselor's hologram showed him gaping in shock. That's seventh dimensional technology. But you're primitives. You can't possibly. Can't we? Dr. Miller asked quietly. While you were laughing at our chemical rockets, we were learning to rewrite the laws of physics themselves. The tactical display showed the collective fleet responding to the Infinity's presence. Their ships began powering up their sixth-dimensional weapons, impressive technology that now looked hopelessly obsolete. Should we evacuate our leadership now? General Stone asked the head counselor with a hint of mockery in his voice. Or would you like to stay and watch? The council chamber erupted in chaos as more sensor data poured in. The impossible ship from the primitive planet was about to engage the most powerful fleet in known space. In the Infinity's cockpit, Lisa felt the familiar surge of power as she prepared for battle. The neural interface hummed, connecting her mind to all 7 dimensions of reality. Target solutions ready, she reported. Permission to engage. General Stone looked directly at the head counselor's hologram as he gave the order. Show them what humanity can do, Captain. Make them remember this day. The head counselor, and the entire Galactic Council with him, were about to learn a harsh lesson about underestimating primitive species. The greatest battle in Earth's history was about to begin. And for once, humanity had the ultimate advantage. The galaxy would never laugh at Earth again. Space near Mars erupted in impossible colors as the battle began. The Collective's fleet, 20,000 ships strong, fired their sixth-dimensional weapons at the lone Earth vessel. Their energy beams twisted through multiple dimensions, designed to bypass any normal defense. But the HFY Infinity wasn't using normal defenses. Initial attack detected, Lisa reported calmly from her cockpit. Their weapons are trying to exist in 6 dimensions simultaneously. She smiled. Amateur work. Through her 7th-dimensional awareness, Lisa saw the attack coming in ways the Collective couldn't imagine. Their beams existed in 6 dimensions. Fine. She simply removed the possibility of those dimensions connecting to the Infinity's location. The massive barrage passed through empty space, hitting nothing. In Earth's command center, the head counselor's hologram watched in disbelief. How that was enough firepower to destroy a planet. Watch closely, Dr. Miller suggested. You're about to see what real dimensional warfare looks like. Lisa split the Infinity into 30 perfect copies, each as real as the original, each under her complete control. The Collective fleet's sensors went crazy, unable to determine which ship was real because, in 7th-dimensional space, they all were. Beginning counterattack, she announced. The Infinity's weapons activated, but they didn't fire normal energy beams or projectiles. Instead, Lisa reached into the 7th dimension and began rewriting local laws of physics. Around each target, space itself changed its rules. Collective ships started failing in impossible ways. Some found themselves in areas where electrical energy couldn't exist. Others drifted into spaces where metal couldn't maintain molecular bonds. A whole squadron discovered that, in their location, the speed of light had been reduced to walking pace. By the eternal stars, the head counselor whispered, "They're not just fighting the ships. They're fighting reality itself." The Collective fleet tried to adapt. They launched their most powerful weapon, a 6th-dimensional space-time disruptor designed to tear apart the fabric of reality. Their flagship, a massive vessel the size of a small moon, powered up for the shot. Lisa saw it coming across all dimensions. "Cute," she muttered. Then she did something that made the observing council members gasp in horror and awe. She caught the 6th-dimensional blast in a 7th-dimensional field, twisted it through 17 theoretical states of existence, and sent it back to the Collective fleet as 1,000 synchronized attacks. The result was spectacular. Nearly 5,000 Collective ships vanished, not destroyed but erased from probability itself. They hadn't just been destroyed. They had never existed in the first place. Impossible. The flagship's commander broadcast in panic. Fall back. Full retreat. But retreat wasn't possible. Lisa had created a bubble of altered spacetime around the entire fleet. Inside it, the concept of backward movement simply didn't exist. The only way out was forward, toward Earth's single ship. "The remaining fleet is trapped," she reported. "Shall I finish this?" General Stone looked at the head counselor's pale face. "Your call, Captain. Make it memorable." Lisa reached out with her seventh-dimensional senses and began her final attack. The Infinity split into 10,000 copies, surrounding the collective fleet in normal space, and 5 other dimensions simultaneously. "Watch carefully," Dr. Miller told the stunned council members. "You'll never see anything like this again." Light bent, space curved, time twisted. The laws of physics began to dance to Lisa's command. Each copy of the Infinity created its own bubble of altered reality, overlapping and combining in ways that even seventh-dimensional mathematics struggle to describe. The collective fleet, trapped in the middle of this dimensional storm, never had a chance. Their sixth-dimensional technology, which had seemed so advanced to the rest of the galaxy, was like bringing a knife to a nuclear war. In less than 5 minutes, it was over. Where 20,000 ships had been, now there was only empty space and rapidly fading dimensional distortions. The HSS Infinity, once again a single ship, hovered silently against the backdrop of Mars. "All hostile ships neutralized," Lisa reported, her voice tired but satisfied. "Area secured." In the command center, nobody spoke for a long moment. The head counselor's hologram flickered as he struggled to find words. Finally, General Stone broke the silence. "I believe, Counselor, that Earth's application to join the Galactic Council requires your immediate attention. Unless, of course, you still think we're too primitive." The message was clear. The galaxy's balance of power had just shifted dramatically, and it would never shift back. 1 month after the battle near Mars, the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council looked very different. The floating pods no longer held laughing, mocking aliens. Instead, the representatives sat in respectful silence as Captain Lisa Walker and Dr. Miller presented Earth's new role in galactic affairs. The head counselor, his silver skin slightly pale, stood at his podium. "The Council recognizes Earth as not just a member, but as a protected species guardian. Their unique capabilities make them ideally suited for this role." Lisa stood in her formal uniform, 7 gold bands on her sleeve representing the dimensions she had mastered. Next to her, Dr. Miller operated a holographic display showing the HSS Infinity's capabilities, at least the ones they were willing to reveal. "Earth accepts this responsibility," Lisa announced. "Our fleet of 7th-dimensional vessels will ensure peace in all sectors." She paused, allowing her words to sink in. "Fleet, not ship." A murmur ran through the chamber. One brave counselor raised his hand. How many ships have you built?" Dr. Miller smiled. "That's an interesting question. In 7th-dimensional space, numbers work differently. Let's just say we have enough." The truth was, Earth had been busy. Deep beneath the ice of Antarctica, 5 more ships like the Infinity were nearing completion. Each one represented an improvement on the original design. Each one could reshape reality itself. "We've prepared a demonstration," Lisa continued. She pressed a button on her wrist device. Outside the council station's massive windows, space rippled. The HSS Infinity appeared, then split into 100 perfect copies. Then each copy demonstrated a different impossible feat. One reversed gravity in a sphere 1,000 kilometers wide. Another created a temporary star that burned backwards in time. A third opened a window into parallel dimensions. "As you can see," Dr. Miller explained, "we've only begun to explore the possibilities of 7th-dimensional technology. But our focus is on protection, not dominance." The head counselor nodded quickly. Of course. Earth's wisdom matches its power. We are fortunate to have such guardians." In the month since the battle, Earth had changed too. The revelation of their true technological capabilities had united humanity in ways no one expected. Countries that once fought now work together, sharing in the advancement of dimensional science. Our next step, Lisa announced, is to establish training centers. We'll teach selected species how to safely explore higher dimensions, under Earth's guidance, of course. More murmurs, but this time of excitement rather than fear. The same races that had mocked Earth's primitive technology now couldn't wait to learn from them. And what of the remaining collective forces? Someone asked. An excellent question, Dr. Miller replied. He brought up a new hologram showing distant sectors of space. Thanks to Captain Walker's seventh-dimensional scanning, we've located all their hidden bases. They will be addressed. The way he said it made several council members shiver. After the meeting, Lisa and Dr. Miller stood in a private chamber, looking out at the stars. The infinity floated nearby, its hull still shifting with impossible patterns. They're afraid of us, Lisa said quietly. They respect us, Dr. Miller corrected. Fear fades. Respect lasts. And the technology we haven't shown them. Dr. Miller smiled. The truth was, seventh-dimensional space was just the beginning. Their latest experiments had detected signals from even higher dimensions, realms where the very concept of physical laws broke down completely. Everything in its time, he said. Humanity has come far, but we're still learning. That's something they never understood. It's not about where you are. It's about how far you're willing to go. Lisa nodded, watching as her ship performed impossible maneuvers just for show. They laughed at our chemical rockets while we were learning to rewrite the laws of physics. I wonder what we'll achieve while they're busy copying our seventh-dimensional tech. That's humanity's true strength, Dr. Miller said. We never stop pushing boundaries. Never stop asking, what if? Never stop trying to reach higher. As if to emphasize his point, the infinity created a cascade of dimensional ripples, painting the sky with colors that shouldn't exist. The galaxy's newest guardians had revealed their power, but not their full potential. Let them think they'd seen everything humanity could do. Let them believe they understood Earth's limits. The laughter had stopped, but humanity's journey was just beginning. And this time, the galaxy would watch in wonder, not mockery, as Earth reached for even higher dimensions of possibility. The end.